Thank you, James. Thank you, everybody that's joining. I hope you got an amazing event so far. I've participated in a couple of these sessions. I mean, it's been amazing. So we being the last ones, I hope the energy is up because this is going to be a how-to session. So I'm going to share a lot of knowledge. That's my goal here on how we are driving user acquisition, like really driving user acquisition. Have your pens and your notebooks ready. Hopefully you are able to extract a lot of things to apply. Get excited with influencers if you're not running any campaigns now. If you do, hopefully you can improve them with a couple of our best practices. So about Tatam, my agency has 1.5 years old. We are a global influencer marketing agency that runs performance user acquisition campaigns, focusing on the lower funnel. So our focus is really on the conversions. This year alone, year to date 2020, we've worked with over 500 influencers. So that's like more than 3 videos every day, sponsored content going live. And we have reached over 60 million video views. That's around 350K every day with our sponsorships for our clients. But we don't really define ourselves as a marketing agency. We define ourselves as a knowledge company. Hopefully that's going to be very clear why by the end of this presentation. About myself, I co-founded the company a year and a half ago. I've had a lot of experience previously of being an entrepreneur now in corporate media and entertainment companies, where I worked mostly with the mobile business side of these companies, Viacom, Electronic Arts, Disney, ESPN. So hopefully, you'll see a lot of things being applied from those knowledge as well. So, and as you can see, all of our clients, hopefully you're recognizing some of our brands. I would say 60–70% of these we have right now ongoing campaigns, and they are mostly apps. Most of them have a subscription business model. So if you are running, growth for a subscription-based app, a lot of the things that we are going to share here actually are coming from your space. So hopefully you'll see a lot of value. This is the agenda for today. So I'm going to start with a very basic, just in case some of you have never or think about running marketing with influencers and I'm not really familiar on how an influencer works. And then the main part is going to be beyond the likes. So what we actually look at before and then running the campaign to have a successful campaign. And then finally, I'm going to share 2 case studies. One is an Instagram case study. Another one is a YouTube case study. And we've shared these case studies with very sophisticated internal marketing, very experienced teams, and they've seen a lot of value on those cases. So if you are very experienced with influencers, stay until the end. I'm sure that you're going to find those very interesting. So what's an influencer? What is influencer marketing and who is it for? We call influencers to digital content creators with a strong online reach that also can achieve a high level of influence. And we are not calling celebrities influencers or trendsetters. So these are digital native content creators. And our definition includes, but it's not limited to, YouTubers, Instagrammers, podcasters, Twitch streamers, TikTokers, and LinkedIn personalities. So we've run campaigns across multiple multiple platforms, and we know everybody works. Okay, so this is our definition. Influencers are media, right? So they're just like any website, any radio show, any apps, any social media, any billboard you are running campaigns in. So we think of them as media outlets, and with three big pros. So one is that they are individuals, so they are adding this human and authenticity component to the ad. Number two, they talk to a strong community that they have a big level of influence on, and they can communicate on digital platforms, right? So there's the possibility of actually tracking and understanding what's coming from these efforts. And what is influencer marketing? Is consistently adding influencers into your marketing mix, and being part of the marketing strategy and aligned with the company goals. So, I mean, for us, the influencer, industry, $8 billion industry, is divided. There's a huge gap between the branding approach or the PR approach and the performance approach. And sadly, from our point of view, most of the effort and the money from influencers is on the left side, on the branding, this is run on a PR approach, where we have a very strong feelings about brands or agencies, or they're paying lots of money and not measuring correctly, not even knowing what they're buying. That's creating a lot of problems, and actually, it's not good for the influencer marketing space. A lot of consumer brands are on this side. On the other side, where we just do influencer marketing with a performance approach, and we work with direct-to-consumer digital products or brands and e-commerce. So if you are on the branding side, you have to know that there's you can leap to a performance approach, and I will teach you how. So that's for the intro. We're moving into beyond the likes. So here's when I'm going to start giving you a lot of things that took us a lot of time to understand, a lot of testing, a lot of money being invested to learn. So I hope you really like this. The most basic rules, even if you've never run campaigns with influencers. So first, 99% of the influencers work on a fixed fee per integration. So they have a price. Okay, so when you reach out, they have a media kit, they have a price point, they have their product that is an integration or a dedicated video, and you will ask for that price. But the second golden rule is that you can and you should negotiate as much as possible. And I think that this, I don't want this to be underestimated, because it's so important. So if you have run a Google search campaign, for example, a keyword is good or bad depending on the bid. So a keyword can be good or bad. It depends on how much you pay. So that's the same logic with influencers. So remember, we are running influencers on a performance approach. The cost that you pay is everything. It's 50% off. So you have to promise me that you are, if you're not negotiating, you're never going to accept the first price, and you're going to negotiate as much as possible. And I want to, and I will share with you two methods to understand how much you should pay for an influencer. But so here's a great tip. So how do you negotiate with an influencer? This is the actual words that you should use to get to the price that you want. You want to say, hey, give me your analytics, give me your media kit, what's your rate? They will send you, and you can say, no, I'm sorry, we're very far from getting to that budget. Thank you anyways. They are going to ask, just give us an offer. So now they're asking. So you can say, look, you're going to answer, look, I know this is very far from what you are asking. We are not valuing your content. As a matter of fact, I love your content. This is not the value that we put on your content. This is just how much we can pay for the level of results that we think are going to come on our app, right? 60% of the times you're going to close at an unbelievable rate. I mean, we've had negotiations from 10K down to 2K for a video. So that really works, and it's super important. Number 3, the general format. So the product of an influencer is a 60 to 90 seconds segment in a video, or 5 frames in a story in Instagram. And a tip here, most of them also have a product that is a dedicated video where they are only going to talk about your app. That's not worth it. Don't do it. It is overpriced. It will have less views than the average video that this influencer has. So just go with the 60 to 90 second video and make the best from it. And you can teach a lot about a product. So we have had apps that were very complicated or products that were not easy to explain, and influencers for those apps are great because this is a human explaining in 90 seconds. It's a lot. A product that maybe it's not that easy to explain in a banner or in a video app. So number 4, the audience needs to be aware that they are watching an ad. Most influencers already take this because this is regulated, but you have to be aware so you don't have any problems with your brand or your company. Number 5, the more niche the content vertical and the channel that you work with, the higher the conversion rate. Number 6, you should set only one metric to measure success. So if you are going to optimize and look for installs and optimize for CPI, only ask that sponsorship to be successful on installs. So this is comparable to when you are running a campaign and you have a landing page. Great landing pages just have one action, as they are asked for the user to do one action, maybe have 3 buttons, but they just ask for one action. So this is the same with influencers, and we have measured this a lot, especially with Instagram, where we had clients that they wanted, a mention, a hashtag, and then the swipe up, but the campaign goal was to drive installs. What happened was that a lot of the actions from the users were going to the mention, the ad brand, or going to the hashtag, and we were losing clicks on the swipe up, and that were the installs, as much as 50%. So when we said to them, like, we are going to just have swipe ups, the campaign just boomed. So there's a great tip there. Number 7, you should provide influencers with a clear brief, clear but open brief. So they are content creators. They are going to explain your brand. If they are good, they're going to explain your brand in a great way. So give them freedom, but be very controlling on the call to action. And you can A/B test or split test call to action. We've done that. So here's how you do A/B test with influencers. You will pick, so we had a campaign that we could change the call to action between subscribe and get subscribe for a 6-month period, get 6 extra months for free. And we wanted to change to 50% in 1 year, right? So it's the same offer. It's paying half, right? But depending on the wording, so we run that. We gave an A/B testing link that had both landing pages to the most the higher video views channels on a set month, and we repeated that until we got a winner. And we were very surprised to see how fast we actually were able to test. If you don't have an A/B testing platform, all of the influencers in 1 month, 1 call to action. The next month, with all the influencers, a new one. You try to be balanced in terms of the amount of money you're investing, the amount of influencers that you're working with. Try to stay, parallel as much as possible, and do it monthly. So that's how you can control and test a strong call to action. And number 8, how you're going to track the performance. You are going to give, so if you are with AppsFlyer or Adjust, you're going to give them one link, a smart link. If you're working with a landing page, just a URL with the UTM and or a promo code, right? If you're going to use, for example, ugly URLs from Adjust or AppsFlyer, they're not user-friendly, just use Bitly and make them a little bit more friendly. And that's how you are going to then analyze the performance per each influencer. You are going to give them, for each influencer, one unique URL. If you work with an influencer twice, for each video, you're going to give them a different URL so that you can keep track on how they are varying over time. A lot of things there. I hope you are writing down. We are going to have a Q&A by the end. So we are moving to more sophisticated things here. What are the metrics that you actually need to look at? So working with influencers and content creators under a performance approach is very similar to running any performance campaign. You are buying impressions and targeting a CAC or a CPI or a CPA goal. That's basically you're buying impressions. So let's focus on the buy part. It's just like when you're running campaigns with Google Ads, you are bidding for the CPC, and you set a maximum cents that you're going to pay for a click. And then what you need to do with influencers is calculate your max CPM bid, and you're going to bid the influencers up to the maximum amount you can pay for a CPM. So these are 2 methods that you can implement right now to know in advance, without guessing, how much it's worth paying an influencer. The most easy approach would be go to whatever other campaigns that you are running and look at the CPMs of your, 5 top performing campaigns, and use that as a benchmark, and then go offer based on the video views from an influencer that you're expecting, and we're going to talk about impressions right now. You're going to, based on the views, offer what your CPM, max CPM bid, allows you to. If you can have a better cost, the better, because your CAC is going to come down. So a CPM benchmark from other campaigns is the easiest one. The best one, in our point of view, and this is how we run the campaigns for our clients, is to get a benchmark funnel, an entire funnel. You can either, I would suggest, and we're going to see that in a couple of minutes, I would suggest you using your organic funnel, because influencers acquire very similarly to what the organic acquisition or the organic funnel is. So look at your organic funnel and use that to reverse calculate. So if you put into your funnel 1,000 views, by the conversions in each step, you're going to understand that from 1,000 views, you are going to get 10 subscribers. Then what's the CAC that you have as a goal, and you will understand if you're going to get 10 and your CAC is 100, then you can offer $1,000 for a deal that's going to give you 10 subscribers, right? So does that make sense? So either you go to a benchmark CPM, or you calculate your funnel. And of course, this is for the first month, you have to guess the funnel. But on the second month, you are going to have the actual influencer funnel from the first month. So now you can use that funnel to price your new deals. So that's the buy part. Very important. Remember, you have to negotiate. Don't take the first price that they give you. You are going to decide your bid as if this was any other performance campaign. But remember, you're buying impressions. So we're treating influencers as any other media, and we are focusing on their level of reach. So both in working with YouTubers or Instagrammers, do not pay attention to the number of subscribers or followers, not comments, not likes. Those are just vanity metrics that are very bad to predict performance. These are not business metrics. You don't care about them. You just care about the views, so the impressions, how much traffic you are buying. We are buying impressions. So how do you do this? With YouTube, the views of the last 10 videos, you will calculate an average that will be a little bit lower than the average. So you be pessimistic with that. And base that to price your deal. On Instagram, you are going to ask the influencer to send you a screenshot of their analytics on the last stories, and you're going to see the actual views, and you're going to price them based on the actual views, okay? So let's go with the YouTubers. So you're working with YouTubers. The most important thing is the views. Then you have to consider the watch time, especially if you are, so watch time is after 5 to 7 minutes, it's going to drop. People are going to stop seeing that video. So you want to negotiate being between the first 3 to 5 minutes, your sponsored segment. If the YouTuber tells you, we always do an integration in the end of the video, what you can do, very important, is to ask them to put a short 15 seconds teaser at the beginning. This video is sponsored. Thank you for supporting this video brand. And the call to action. You cannot miss the call to action in that teaser. Very important, the watch time. If you can ask for the watch time. If you're handling 10 deals at a time, you can do it. If you're scaling up, and you cannot, it's too much to ask. It's a lot of things. So you can ask to be in the first 5 minutes and you're going to be fine. Look at the upload frequency, number 6. If a YouTuber posts a video every day, you only will have that freshness of your sponsored video for 24 hours. And you're going to miss a lot of potential views. So it's ideally you're working on an influencer that posts every 48 or 72 hours. This varies a lot, but try to get at least 48 hours of window on that content freshness. Number 7, depending on your app and your audience, we have found several campaigns where it makes a huge difference if we are targeting channels that are more male or female heavy audiences, or age as well. So depending on your app, you can ask for that information to the YouTuber. And number 8 and 9, if you're working with good YouTubers, good channels, this comes with them. Make sure that you're working with great quality thumbnail channels and great title, and you can ask for them to, or you should ask for them to tell you the topic of the video and how they're going to integrate, and then ask for the title. You're not going to be better at titling the videos, but just for you to get an impression before actually seeing the video. So a lot of things from YouTube with Instagrammers. So views, we already talked about it. Number 5, CTR. You can ask for them to send you the screenshots on the number of swipe ups that they got from some recent stories. If you have the CTR and if you have the views, it's super easy to price and to understand if you have a strong file to understand how much you're going to get from that deal. So you can ask for the swipe up rate. Stories per day. Try to that this is a channel that doesn't have more than 20 per day. Either way, your stories are going to get lost in a lot of noise. Number 7, same as YouTube. Depending on your app, the audience will be a huge factor of performance. And then 8, swipe ups. So do not put any mentions, any hashtag. Include the swipe up on every frame and every story. Ask them to put GIFs on all of your Instagram stories. A lot of things here. Hopefully you've taken notes and I've not gone too fast. With YouTubers and Instagrammers, you have more than enough to scale a lot. We have seen campaigns that are very hard to scale with successful CAC in other channels. And from our experience, influencers is very hard to saturate, because you're not bidding to a keyword. You're just working with people. With all of this into account, you're going to have great performance on your campaigns. So we are going to move now to our case studies. So I've convinced you to test influencers on a performance approach. You now know what to look at before closing the deal when you are researching for the influencers. You have a couple of tips on how to integrate, when, how, what's important, how to do A/B testing. Now your campaign is live, and we are going to measure the results, right? So a lot of the performance on influencers is tracked by the links that you're going to provide or the promo codes, but there are going to be a lot of user action that it's going to be non-tracked, right, or organic. So this case study focuses on understanding the organic uplift. So if you participated in the TikTok acquisition session a couple of days ago, they had a cool approach on measuring the organic uplift. They looked at the app, how the app moved on the ranking on the App Store, and I now want to do that study for a couple of our clients, but we took a different approach. So let me tell you about this analysis. So the campaign on this case study was executed for an edutainment kids app that has a subscription business model. We run this campaign as Instagram stories with a link, swipe up to download the app, and the goal was, of course, driving subscribers. Number 3, we analyzed. So all of this data is coming from 140 influencer sponsorships, so a lot of volume, 600 stories over a 6 months period of time, so a lot of data into this analysis. How we did it, we downloaded all of their organic installs from their app flyer where we had access to, and all of the tracked influencer installs and subscriptions from 6 key markets that we were running campaigns in. But the good thing was that they were not active, none other marketing efforts were active on these 6 markets, only organic or influencers, right? So these were clean markets to analyze. We then compared the organic performance prior and after the campaigns, and we saw the delta or the difference it produced by the influencers. And we attributed that on the influencer because there was nothing else being done there. And then we estimated the multiplier effect of our campaigns on the organic. So this is the graph on the installs, right? So you can see here the organic line in red, and then we turn the campaign up in January. So before the campaign, adding the 6 markets, they had only 2K installs per month. So very, very little. That organic installs jumped almost 400% since the campaign started. Nothing else was being done there. And then we calculated the ratio of installs, and we concluded that for every 1 install that we were generating on the influencer campaign, there was another install that we weren't registering that was counting as organic. So for every 1 install, there was another install. This is consistently in all 6 markets. But interestingly, so we were not happy with understanding the install. We wanted to know actually purchases. So before the campaign, the 6 markets, remember, they were not doing anything there. 18 organic subscribers per month. That rate, that grew 1,700% since we started the campaign. So the actual ratio for subscribers was higher than on installs. For every 1 subscriber that we acquired tracking with our link, there were 3 that were converting organically. And that got us thinking why we have 1 by 1 in install, but 1 in 3 in the organic. So we went a step further, and we looked at the organic subscription rate over time. These are the first months without the campaign, their average organic subscription rate over installs. So for every install, for every 100 installs, they got 1% conversion, one subscriber before the campaign was live. We turned on the campaign through our tracked installs and subscribers. We were having the same subscription rate as the organic. So remember, your organic funnel is going to be very similar to what you see or should see on a good influencer performance campaign. So very comparable. But then what happened was that the organic subscription rate, while we were doing the campaign, grew almost 500%. So you can see here a huge jump on the organic subscription rate. So that explains why the ratio changed a lot. So this was 12 months of data, 600 integrations or content going live on Instagram. And hopefully you can also, when you launch your campaigns or now that you know how to, you could measure this, go and actually try to understand your real CAC or your real CPI, because it's going to be interesting to understand on your app, on your campaigns, how much the organic uplift is. So now that you understand your installs and your subscriptions, I wanted to show you actual revenue. And this case study is about the revenue over time. And this is about YouTube as a platform. So sponsorships on YouTube are quite different from Instagram, because the videos will remain. So a video and a sponsorship remains evergreen. They will continue to bring views over time. So they will continue to bring revenues over time. This is what we at the time called the YouTube long tail effect. But we wanted to understand how much was coming on that long tail. Why? Because 80% of the influencer marketing budgets are going to Instagram and TikTok. Those are 24-hour platforms. So they don't have this long tail effect. So we wanted to really understand how much was that. So we ran a cohort analysis. We had this client, also an educational, not for kids, but an educational subscription model app. We had been running a campaign for a year, non-stop, with increasing budgets. The audience was US, men and women, very mature audience. Also in terms of the vertical, personal, professional, self-development, creativity, innovation, business-related topics. So all of those were the focus on the content vertical from the YouTubers on this campaign. All of them were promoting the app on 90 seconds integrations. We were providing a link that was going to a landing page. We're adding a special offer. So all of these results, again, were brought by the client analytics tool, and they are adding 12 months of data. So this is the result. So I'm going to walk you through what you're seeing on the screen. So these are the color coding here, as we cannot actually show you the real numbers. We represented them by the color. So the darker the color, the more concentrated, the higher the revenue. But you can see we don't have any white here. So even 12 months after a video went live in January, a lot is concentrated in month 1, quite a few in month 2, 3, 4, 5. It just keeps bringing revenue. So the conclusion, and we internally we ran this again. We updated all of these numbers because the campaign still goes on, and it's the similar. So the conclusions stay the same, which is on the first month of your YouTube video, you are going to see only half the revenue that you're going to see over time. Again, you're going to pay for a YouTuber to do a sponsored segment about your app. The first month of views are going to explain just 50% of the actual performance. This is based on revenue, but of course it's aligned with subscribers. We see that on month 2, they bring 15% of the total revenue. Then the third month, 7% on average. And then it's going to slowly decrease in the subsequent months and accumulate another 50%. So couple of learnings here for everybody to apply. It is very important that you keep tracking and updating whatever tracking you're providing, you're using to measure your results, your campaign. And you are going to see that the January videos in June, they will keep adding subscribers. So you are going to have to keep updating your CAC from the January efforts, and understanding that the money that you spend in January will continue to provide ROI. So you are going to have this moving ROI. For our clients, we set, the goal is to get to the CAC that we want, or the CPI that we want on month 1, and everything else is just good news, right? So, optimize for month 1, but be mindful that there's going to be a lot coming in. And this is you to remember, because Instagram is just a 24-hour platform. On YouTube, it's totally different. So if you have an offer that can stay evergreen, I would say go for YouTube. So that's it. Those were our 2 studies. More papers, research, and other case studies you can see in our website. We are very passionate about making this industry a lot more performance-based. We don't want to see any likes or any engagement rates being reported by any agencies when we're talking about actual business metrics with influencer. And all of the knowledge that we can share, we do share on our website. And if you have comments, questions, just drop me an email at federico@tatam. And James, I don't know how we are in time, but happy to take questions.
Yeah, if you've got any questions, please leave them in the Q&A box. Someone already has a question, which is, what's the minimal budget and number of influencers and channels you need to see effective UA via influencers?
Yeah, so depends on the market. On the US, we start with 10K budget, and if that's going to allow you to work with maybe 3 to 5 channels, good channels. And then as you feel more comfortable and learn and optimize, I would say you can ramp up until whatever you can.
Can you just stop sharing your screen so we can? Great. Okay, so great. So that's another one. So another question is, can you give me an example of the max CPM and how to decide whether an influencer sponsorship is expensive or fair enough?
Yeah, great. So I would say if it's a very niche influencer, you can pay higher. By generally, I wouldn't pay over, in the US, over $30 CPM.
Right. Okay. And what about this issue of fake followers? Someone's asking, how can you avoid that?
You don't care.
Right.
You don't care about followers. You don't care about subscribers. You are going to ask for the Instagrammers to send you screenshots from their views, and you're going to buy impressions from that media. So you don't care.
Right, got it. And okay, so I have a question, which is, I'm always surprised when we're talking to influencer agencies. I would think that, and they always say apps is one of their biggest category. And to me, when I think of influencers, I think of, people doing, I don't know, some other sort of travel experiences or different types of products or anything, I'm always really surprised apps is such a big market, and sort of why is that?
I think that people consume influencers as a media on their cell phones. So it's very easy to go for, the media and your product are in the same device. And I think that, if I have to shoot, I think that's it.
Right. Okay. And the other question I had was, you were talking about running a campaign with, maybe 600 influencers. And, there seemed to be there's a lot of back and forth in this, right? It's not like an ad network or,
Yeah.
there's a lot of heavy operational load.
Yeah.
Getting the analytics, getting the creatives, the management overhead's insane.
Yes.
Is that
Absolutely.
why there's a role for the agency, is to do all that? Or, can people run this in-house effectively?
I think that this is a very labor intensive. I have seen a lot of tools, marketplaces that are trying to, optimize for, the operational complexity. But it's a very labor intensive. So if you can have, an experienced team that will have focus on influencer, I think absolutely you can do this in-house, but there has to be focus because this is going to be outreach, negotiation, asking for data, paying influencer payment, handling approval. So it's a lot of things. So I think that, yes, you can do it internally, but you have to be prepared to have a focused team.
Right. And how do you as an agency manage that process? Do you have like a lot of templates or your own internal systems? Yeah. How do you sort of add value?
Yes.
Without giving away your secret sauce?
No. There's no secret sauce. It's a lot of data and a lot of focus and a year and a half of just doing this. I think that when you hire a good agency, you're going to, if they're doing a good job, they're going to work with the best tools. And they're going to buy these tools in bulk, right? Because they are using your fees or your budget to provide this layer of, great tools that are going to make the work more efficient for you and for the client and for the agency. So we work with a lot of different tools, yeah, when we see ourselves as, this knowledge or this connection layer between, the brand and everything that is available in the market. So someone has to deal with the tools, deal with the influencers. It's a lot of complexity.
Got it. And someone is asking, do you recommend running multiple influencer campaigns in the same market to boost the organic impact?
This is a very interesting. So we have a client that has very small budget. What we do, we concentrate every time like 10 influencers in 3 days, posting all of them at the same time. And we see that working. So if you have a small budget and you can concentrate your efforts, maybe concentrate in a city, that could be a good idea. And yes, you see a bigger uplift in the organic. Yes, you do.
Got it. And I saw you were focused on YouTube and Instagram. Obviously, TikTok's a kind of big growing platform, and is that something you've looked at and you think there's a good reason to focus on those two kind of platforms, or are you looking to add that, or do you still think these are the best ones to focus on right now?
Yeah. So what happens is that, in my opinion, right? So on Instagram, you have the swipe up. It's very easy to derive that funnel. On YouTube, you have the long tail. On TikTok, you don't have a swipe up, so the only call to action that you can is that the user has to go to the profile, click on the bio, and for me, you know, so many steps to just go to the store. And you are asking for 3 things before they arrive to the store. They have to install. So the funnel in TikTok gets, it's too long, right? So you're asking too much from the user. I think that Instagram at this point versus TikTok has more leverage until TikTok, develops the swipe up.
Got it.
And we are doing a lot on Twitch.
Right. Oh, Twitch.
Yeah.
On Twitch. Right. So I suppose closing question from me is, where, in terms of the influencer marketing hype cycle, and kind of as a marketing channel, where are we? Are we at the real foothills? Are we reaching the majority? Are we on a steady? Is it going to keep growing? Where are we right now?
I don't see any decrease in usage on social media. I only see, so yeah, I would say, influencers is a media, and it's going to stay.
Got it. Okay, well, that's a great place to end. I've dumped your email there, and if anyone watching the recording, it's federico@tatam.digital. Federico, it's a great way to end the event, and thanks for joining us today from Madrid. It's probably late there now, but I know you guys like to eat late. Maybe you're probably going to have dinner now at 10. Maybe not.
Yes, we are.
There you are, right. Well, thanks for joining us, and really appreciate it. For everyone else, we have one last little bit going on now. We're going to do the draw for the Apple Watch, and a little closing address from Tala on the team. So thanks again, Federico.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, James. Bye.
Ciao.